Hey guys, J77 doing a cafe video. Something I've been doing more and more lately, especially with the situation that is still going on at the household. But I decided to continue to do this just more often than not, especially now when I'm pretty much been more on the road with work and everything else. Haven't done a diary in a while, but I'm going to be doing that a lot more because man, was it an interesting summer. I got a lot to talk about. Some good, some not so good, but overall, some stuff that I wanted to get off my chest, especially with this particular diary that I'm doing right now. Needless to say, happened at work, and right now with the work being on a standstill because the tourist season is pretty much not completely dead right now, but it's just the tourist level that we have if it wasn't during the summer, especially during the holiday season, had pretty much tapered off, and that's largely because a lot of people across the United States is going back to school. The people we have coming in is overseas tourists from New Zealand to Australia to Britain, and as good as that is, it's not. Uh, Overall, it's not the overall population that drives our business, which is kind of surprising if you look at the numbers. But nevertheless, it is a slowdown period. We expect to be picked up in November and December and January, of course. But for now, we're just basically, pretty much, have to make do with what we got right now. Which leads me to basically having time to talk about some of the major events that happened in New York and some that I have fully witnessed. And before I go in, and I'm noticing it right off the bat, do apologize for the lighting. The lighting here is not good, and being that it is now 7:43 at night, uh, lighting here is not one of my best friends. One thing about this Starbucks particularly that is a disadvantage. Their lighting isn't all that great, but nevertheless, hopefully during the daytime I'll work out a better schedule where I get better lighting here. If I have to buy a little miniature light and flash it just above the webcam. But without further ado, let's talk about some of the stuff that happened in the summertime. So simple fact is we had like 2 weeks worth of hot spell, which made it almost unbearable to stand and sell any kind of tourist tickets or anything for that matter. There was a few interesting things that happened. One, we had a huge turnout for Ricky Martin, which the fans went nuts for. I saw him just on a brief. He was doing autograph signings at Rockefeller Center, which was kind of unique. We also had a lot of concerts. I just found out a new rock group, which I may or may not check out their work just to see what the big deal is. Personally, I just think because the name One Direction and how old the boys are, I just think the girls just went nuts for them because they're hot. But and that's pretty much all it is. But who knows? They actually may have played some good music. I'm not a big fan of boy bands at all, but it is something of an interesting situation. Hell, Manitou Souls had a wax figure of these guys, so obviously they're big, and they just had a movie recently released. They did pretty okay for for boy band standard. But the one thing that really caught my attention was an incident that happened at Avenue of America, 6th Avenue, between 49th Street, at the corner of 49th Street for that matter. And this was on the news. This was reported heavily, and it really got my mind pretty much blessing my stars, as well as be more happy of the life you have, especially with your limbs. And that was a horrible accident involving a tourist who, by many standards, I thought she was gone. I thought she was dead. And this happened on, just not too long ago. Right now, I can tell you right now, they're just starting to make repairs around that area. Some repairs is pretty much unrepairable, but one thing is certain. It happened pretty much during the wee afternoon, but when it was about to turn afternoon, and I was standing on the opposite side where Magnolia Bakery is. Now, those who know what Magnolia Bakery is, it was made famous by the Sex and the City series. So I was standing in the corner there, doing what I was assigned to do. And then, just out of the blue, as I'm, walking and pacing that particular corner, trying to sell bus tickets, a very hard scream came I didn't know where it came from. I'm turning around, and next thing I know, I see a cab slam into the barricade of the building, which I'm pretty sure is the Canadian Embassy, and other offices. It's 12:50, I believe. It hits that. Then it ended up hitting the fountain, and whatever. You see the cab standing there, and you see this girl going frantic, and you see this person. We couldn't see her face, but you know she was laying down and she was hurt. Immediately, you know what just happened. You know that someone got badly hurt, badly hit. You didn't know the extent of it, but you saw it, and it was right across the street from me. And man, oh man, that was not a good feeling. Immediately, me and I think about 17 others called 911, and that was when I got an operator told someone said I can't see what the person is, what she looks like, but I know she said a lot of people is coming to her aid right now. I didn't cross that street for a simple fact is that I probably wouldn't stomach it. I probably wouldn't handle it. And after hearing what actually happened, once everything started filtering down, it was clear that what happened. Now, originally, and I got to give credit before I go any further, credit for the police because they responded quick. I mean, they responded in all directions. I was still on the phone with the operator. Next thing you know, you had one cop coming from one direction out of nowhere. You had two more cop calls coming from the opposite side of the street. You had one coming from 49th Street, and then you had a bunch of ambulance and fire department coming right down 6th Avenue, the opposite direction towards traffic. So they actually responded very, very quickly, and that's a good sign. That means that, hey, me and a lot of other people was immediately called 911, which you'd be surprised. Not many people often do. They often, just record things on their cameras, which, amazing enough, that's what happened. There was a whole bunch of people, tourists and New Yorkers, was just having camcorders coming out of the blue, just recording this horrific accident. Rockefeller, who owns that whole entire strip, they own 49th Street to 51st. It's 51st to 48. That's Rockefeller right there. That whole strip, especially between 49th and 50th Street, they pretty much run that whole block. A lot of the security was trying to move traffic along. They did not want nobody standing in that spot. I was pretty much forced to move and call my supervisor saying, hey, look, man, they're going to close the street down. It's a very serious accident happened. And no sooner did I said that, about 6 minutes later, they closed 49th Street, and no traffic was coming in. They stood closed for about 4 hours. So the cops was really doing their thing, investigating. And let me tell you something, the word that was spreading around that area was not good. A lot of people thought she was decapitated, which was kind of sad. And everybody was like, wow, this is messed up, this is bad. And from where the police presence was and how the crime scene was, and I say that very respectfully because that was how the police had portrayed it. It portrayed it as a crime scene because the helicopters were flying all over the place. And once the investigation was cleared, once things started filtering down, we found out that one of the legs was badly mangled and the other one was severed. But she still managed to survive. That's large because of the huge volunteers, and even Dr. Oz, who I'm not a big fan of. My sister loves him to death. He loves watching his shows. I'm not a fan of his. I just don't like doctor shows too much, especially with that particular case. Was actually at the scene. I don't know what office he came from, but he heard the ruckus and he immediately sprung to action. I believe he actually, I forgot what they call it to keep to support the severed leg. There was a hot dog guy, which I actually know. I buy my sodas from time to time. He was managed to put the foot on the ice to try and save it. She was immediately rushed to Bellevue Hospital and tried to reattach it to no avail, and but the family was thrown over. And according to a lot of people, a lot of the news report that was going on, it sounded like it was road rage because of the way it handled the taxi hit a bike, later on hit the curve, jumped the curve, and that's when all that stuff happened. The cab driver did come back, say he felt sorry for it, but he also made it clear that he felt that the bicyclist was at fault. And he said that the bicyclist tried to cut him off. He was trying to not hit him. He was trying to go he was trying to move out the way, but he ended up clipping him, the biker, who also made a statement before hitting the pedestrian that was a young tourist, and then hitting the fountain. Um, it was, however, and this is where my suspicion of the story comes around because a it was reported that this guy had a suspended license before, that he had a suspicious license coming there. The fact is, and this is actually true, there was no break. There was no attempt to slow down. There was no attempt to stop. He just went full speed, and that's where a lot of questions have came up. Now, from what I've been seeing, there doesn't look like any charges was going to be charged. But from what I understand, they also took his license, and they're making sure he doesn't get on the road ever again. So who knows how that's going to pan out in the end. But one thing is definitely certain: road rage is definitely one of the causes that happened there. And man, oh man, oh man, that was a crazy day. That was a very crazy day. It was a hectic day. Some of the bus guys, some of the guys who worked in my agency just went home for a while because they knew that that whole area was closed. I was blessed in many ways. It was messed up what happened to her, and no doubt that I'm very happy that New Yorkers who were there, who know what they was doing, came to aid and actually basically saved her life, especially Dr. Oz. So that's kudos to him, kudos to the police department, kudos to the paramedics to have rushing the scene as quickly as possible. And to me, I'm just blessed because I worked both sides of that corner. And I was just happened to stay in the other side, right next door where bakery is. But that could have easily been me in that situation where the car jumped the curb, hit me. So it makes me be more blessed about the short life I have here in this world now. So it's just something that kind of horrific thing can really, really be more of a wake-up call. Say, hey, remember, you got one life to live, make it count. Also, this is probably as close as I've ever gotten of seeing someone die in front of me. I know that sounds kind of crazy because I have gone to a lot of funerals, but I never actually never actually seen a loved one pass away in front of me. Especially something like that. Like the last time something horrific happened was in, I believe, '91 when someone did a hit and run and just kept on going. And they actually caught the guy, but he hit a kid. But that kid was rushed into the hospital after that car just kept on going. That car did not stop. But they actually, miraculously, they actually caught the guy, and he was charged with endangering life for a child, assault with a deadly weapon, and that was pretty much it. They never really spoke to it again. But that was one of mine. That was a long, long time ago. But this was extremely brutal. They took them pretty much to at least 4 o'clock to finally finish their investigation and basically clean up the mess. There was a guy with the hose spraying the whole place down. The place where the woman was resting towards the sidewalk. I will say this. African America is pretty much like the news district. You have a lot of stations there. You have CBS, you have NBC, which is pretty much Rockefeller. You have Fox, you have News Corp, you have Time Life. You got a lot of places where it's pretty much the media central of New York. And ironically enough, they didn't respond right away. I was pretty sure they were going to be out there immediately. It was almost 2 hours after the fact we started seeing all these news media started to come out. Some later than others. I think the last news media who was doing coverage was the CW, which is kind of interesting. But make no mistake about it, they all had the footage of the cab just off the wheels on top of the water fountain, and just had even more of the actual shot of the guy. They was talking to him, and he would say he felt sorry. I feel sorry for the woman, but yeah, this was something that was very bizarre. This is also a reminder why I don't really like to take yellow cabs too much, because those who've been in New York City, or those who will look at this video who live in New York City, knows those cabs sometimes are reckless, man. They're very, very reckless. I understand they have to make a living, but some of them I think they forget that they have a deadly vehicle that they're driving, that if you don't control it properly, can cause some serious damage to not only to themselves but the people who is in the car as well as all any pedestrians. And that's exactly what happened. As for the building across the street, they just took down the sign. 'Cause the sign got badly damaged. There was a piece of the stone gone from that wreckage. They actually put a board. I don't know if that's going to permanent or they're going to replace it eventually with the new stone, but they did paint the board and left it at that. They took the whole sign down, so I'm assuming that that sign's going to be replaced. But they are pretty much in a slow process of trying to repair that spot that was hit the most. The guy who sold the hot dog, he's fine. He was shaken up when I saw him, but he's fine, doing what he has to do, and that's the only thing you can pretty much ask for during that situation. But make no mistake about it, it was a very scary, it was a very shocking moment. Throughout the whole entire summer, out of all the stuff that happened to me in the summer, that was the most shocking, and that one really it got me to sit down and say, yeah, that's a reminder, man. You got to remember, you're living one life. Be mindful of your surroundings, because like I said, 1 minute I'm starting to think the next thing I hear a scream, and before I turn around, that car was, everything has already happened, just that quick. Again, from what I've been reading up, there hasn't really been nothing else said about it. It was a 3-day coverage. The last thing I remember, Kelly said there's still possibility that the man may face charges, but chances are, if he hasn't been charged yet, he probably never will be. They just probably took his license, because I know the taxi limousine commission was really pushing to get his license taken off, and now I believe they have seceded. But if anything new does come in, I will definitely talk about it. But this is not a news coverage. This is just my own feeling about what my own feeling, because I was there. Most people saw in the news. I was actually there. I was right across the street from Magnolia Bakery when that thing went down. So it was one of the craziest things. I kind of wish I did talk about it, whether it be a What's News or just a separate video, but it was, believe me, my mind was not in the right state at that moment. And two, I really had other very important matters during that week that simply I just could not move away from. But the diary is here, so I'm talking about it now. So that's just my own experience on that matter. If you guys have something similar that you have experienced, whether it's witnessing a car accident or something more tragic, I know there's a lot of stuff out there that people haven't talked about. Let me know, put it in the comment section, but needless to say, that was one of them. So J77 saying that I will be doing a lot more diary like this, pretty much not news related, but more of my personal experience. So look for them pretty much once every week, probably Wednesday, no later than Thursday, on this particular channel. But for now, this is J77 saying take care, be safe, I'll talk to you soon.